Welcome back to a long-awaited video of my Wpl C24-1 RTR, or stands for ready to run. Now, as you can see, this is very far from stock. The only stock things on here are the body, the frame, and the wheel servo motor. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about the parts I bought, what they costed, and the total of this, and what I recommend you should buy. So the first thing on the list is wheels and tires. Now, as you can see, these stock ones, they're a little squishy, but they're real hard. Now, these upgraded ones are a lot softer, which helps grips the rocks better. And as you can see, these new ones are actually a little bit taller and about double or almost double the width of the stock one, which improves the handling and climbing of this rig immensely. This is one I would highly recommend. Now, these tires do come in at $15.39 on Amazon, such as everything else I'll be talking in this video. The next thing I have on this is the suspension. It comes with the shocks, the shock tower, and the links. As you can see, while making this, one of the links actually came out. That's the con of these adjustable links. They will always find their way to back themselves out, no matter how hard you tighten the little lock nut. So I would recommend that you actually get the non-adjustable metal ones, and I'll try and find those and put a link down in the description, as with everything else in this list. Now, those run $30. Now, you can find a little bit cheaper ones. You just have to go searching for them, and they may take longer to find and to be shipped to your house. The third thing I bought were these metal drive shafts. Now, when I installed the suspension, the stock plastic drive shafts were too short, and that was also because I had this thing jacked up to the air looking like a monster truck. So I needed longer axles, and the metal ones are a huge upgrade and help bring the center of gravity a little bit lower, and you won't run the risk of twisting the plastic axles. These run at $7.96. Now, the fifth thing I bought was this 370 motor. This is another upgrade that, if you watch any WPL videos, they would highly recommend. This makes it faster, easier to control, and you can also go slower. Now, this runs in at $28.99. Now, that's for the motor and the gearbox. But you might want to undo these screws here, or Allen keys, and add grease to the gears. And I recommend that for even the axles. Now, the next thing I had to buy was the ESC. Now, the motor comes with a different plug, so you have to get a new ESC, or you can cut the wires and add a connector to go to the stock one. But that will take soldering and a little bit of experience, because these wires are really thin and easy to break while you're stripping the rubber coating. Now, the ESC ran me $11.57. The next thing I had to buy was a new radio controller, and it also came with the receiver. Now, the stock controller, I mean, you get what you pay for. It's pretty good. It does have the steering trim to make the wheels straight. But this one comes with 4 channels, the steering, the forwards and backwards, this third one, and fourth one. Now these you can wire up to do, like, if you wanted a 2-speed gearbox or you wanted 4-wheel steer, stuff like that. And as you can see, it comes with a lot more adjustment. 3 adjusters for the steering and 3 adjusters for the throttle. The normal and reverse for both. Then you have the speed. This is for aligning the wheels. This one can make the car automatically go, but I recommend you leave this one on 0 because you may burn out your motor. I might be speaking from experience. This one is for the how much of a turning radius you want. So you want this one at a 100. And this is for how fast you want the car to go. So if I were to turn it to 50, it would only go 50% of its full speed. So you want this at 100, or you can always move it down and you can use it as a slow crawler or a different trim. Some would say as like a crawling trim. Now this controller plus receiver goes for $36.09. But I would say this is a good upgrade, and it comes with the batteries for the controller. Now the next thing I had to buy was these 2S LiPo batteries. Since I got a different ESC, the battery plug-in was different. So I had to get a battery with the right plug. Now these are 2S LiPos, which are a huge upgrade from the stock ones. Now these also last a lot longer, and I found them in a pack of 2 for $22.99. Now the next thing I bought was this axle servo mount. Now from factory, you may notice you have bump steer because the servo is originally up here. As you can see, I had to modify it to clear this servo moving down. What bump steer is a quick explanation, is whenever like the axle goes up, the servo will actually push the wheels in one direction. So you may have it go like this, as that's what was my problem. But moving it down actually helps bring down the lower center of gravity to the axles, which is a huge plus. And it gets rid of the bend that the stock steering arm had, which mostly created the bump steer. But as you can see, I have a straight one, and my bump steer is non-existent. Now the axle servo mount will run you $10.99. The next thing I bought, which you don't really need, but if you want it and sort of look cool and you can say it, is these portal axles. As you can see, I can fit about 2 fingers under here. The stock ones were just 1, and it raises up the truck, which also does raise up the center of gravity. So it's like a little minus. And these gears in here are strictly for crawling, so the speed of this will hugely diminish. Now one thing about these axles is, from the factory, they are installed backwards. So once you install it and you hit forwards, instead of the truck actually going forward, it goes backwards. So that's also where this new controller comes from, because if you noticed on the throttle, I have it set to reverse. So since this goes backwards when I hit forwards, and I hit reverse on here, forwards on the controller will actually make this go forwards, which is good. Now these portal axles costed $28. Now I would say if you really want them, you should get them, but maybe just sticking with the stock axle or getting a stock axle but that has a metal casing and metal gears will probably do you a lot better. Now overall, if you were to buy everything I bought on Amazon, it would cost you $263.52, and that's without taxes. Now you could buy a Traxxas TRX 4M Bronco for $150 and still have $100 left to modify it. Now this is a good beginner rig that people can learn on. That's pretty much how I have so much money racked into this thing, because I bought parts wanting to modify it, make it better, and also learned and gained experience from it. And I would definitely recommend this to someone who wants to get into crawling for the cheap. And I would also say, while you're at it, is to buy some upgraded tires, which will increase the grip, and this will go a lot further when it's stock, which is some upgraded tires. Well, if you have anything that you did different with your WPL build, or you recommend me doing to gain a little bit extra performance out of this thing, just leave it down in the comments, and I'll also put all the links to all these upgrades on Amazon in the description below. Now, one way, a little tip to save money is to buy the parts on Aliexpress. You'll get them around like 25% cheaper, but the shipping takes 2 weeks to a month. So it's a little pros and cons there. So if you have time to wait, get it on Aliexpress for cheaper, or if you want to instantly get it on Amazon, which usually you'll get the parts within a week. Well, thank you for watching. This is my Wpl C24 RTR that I've modified over the last few years. Now if you go back, say a year or two, you'll see videos I did installing the wheels, the suspension, and the drive shafts. I would also have them pop up somewhere around here at the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and hopefully this gives you inspiration to buy your own Wpl C24 video.